Hello friends, this is Barbie Daly with Rural Life in the Valley. Welcome to my channel and welcome tonight to this creative space tour. It is a collaboration and it's hosted by Our Gray House and I'm merely Melissa. Their channels and other collaborators will be listed in the description box. Hello friends. I seriously feel like I'm drowning. This is my craft room / office and it's gotten out of control. And honestly, I don't know where to start because I don't have extra space. Now that cupboard right there does give me a lot of storage space, but I have it filled. So I need to go through everything. I do have my printer and a file cabinet here that's more for personal and business use, which I don't have another spot really because I want my printer and I need a place for it to rest. And this right here that has cards and envelopes and paper. And then this black storage has some of my supplies, a few journals that I've made this year, art journals, and some other supplies and drawers. And you know, I don't know, what do you guys do? What do you crafters do if you have a small space? I'm sort of one that likes to hang on to things, so that is a problem. But I have collected an awful lot this year in my paper crafting. And so my challenge for not just this year, but January, is to try to get it somewhat organized and stay organized if that's even possible. I'd love to know what you think. I've got a great space here. I've got chandeliers, 2 chandeliers. I don't know if you can see in there, but there is 2 chandeliers and some collectibles. And of course my fairy garden spots. And lots of fun stuff, but where does it go? I'll let you know. Now here's the inside of my cupboard. The second shelf on the right stores my fairy garden supplies, and this is what I want to work on today. I need to have them more accessible without the boxes being stacked on top of one another. I'm going to be putting an extra shelf in there to do that, as well as clean up and organize the crafting room area. So this looks a lot better, doesn't it? Okay, let me take you around to the craft room and I'll show you some things I did. It is not by any means finished and it's only 60 square feet, so there's not too much I can do with it. But anyway, let's see. We'll go straight to this big chest here. First of all, my chandeliers. I don't know how good you can see, but they're really beautiful. When my husband built this room for me, I said, I want chandeliers. And then the guy who was helping him said, well, I can't put a chandelier in the middle of in that beam, so you'll have to have 2. So I said, well, that's okay. So this nice big storage bookcase I think we got it at Walmart, and it holds different things. So I'm going to try to hold this steady. So in here I have some paints and some other art type paint things. This picture is from the Cottage Fairy, if you know her channel. And she's an artist and had a YouTube channel. And then in here I have some ribbon and these little bins I got at Walmart. And then in this next shelf here, I have just miscellaneous. I have scissors. These are my scrapbook papers and calendars, things like that. I do a lot of paper crafting. I just started in last January, and it's amazing how much you gather in a year. So then I have a spot for my hot glue, and it's not perfectly tidy. And some other glue here. And then these are some art journals that I made this year in paper crafting, and so I have them stored there. And then just miscellaneous things. Now this at one time was one of those shoe organizers, and I took the chest apart and I covered the boxes. These boxes were just miscellaneous boxes, and I covered them with different papers and things like that. I have tape. Down here I have some canvases. I have my cut and collage books, a bunch of greeting cards that a friend gave me, and just more storage down there. And then I have a rolling cabinet right here that has pens and coloring things. And then I don't have a box yet for stickers, but here are some stickers. This shelf over here is more for my personal use. I have a few like craft notebooks here. Then I'm going to pan this way. This is my craft table, and it's pretty good right now. I usually have only about this much space, but I did organize it, and I forgot to take this paper away. But I just have my scissors and glue. I have some extra ribbon here. I made this. We had a tin can collab, and I made that. I covered the tin can with a napkin, and then I had a little roll, and I made that for my little tiny scissors. So this over here is just papers and calendars and things that I use for paper crafting. I have my lamp here. Now, my viewers will know that I do fairy gardens and fairy tales. If this is your first time visiting me, this is where I make my fairy tales. And this was the setup for the last one. And then down here, this shelf here is where the shoe organizer was, and I really need to get a little more organized on that, but I have my gel pens here, and these are my deck the year that I participate in the paper crafting altered index cards. And then over here, this storage area is envelopes, paper, just different things. And quite often I will use this top for part of the fairy gardens. I also DIY'd this, was a can, and I used the shelf paper from the Dollar Tree as well as the beads. And I just today bought these beautiful roses. There are four picks of these. And they're the nicest looking roses that they had. They were on a bottom shelf. And let's see, now I'm going to pan around. So I have this large cabinet here. It has my cat collectibles. And I will show you the inside of it, which is not fully organized. But over here I have an old file cabinet that's for personal use. And I want to get a 3-drawer so I have more storage for that. And then I can put my printer on top. I think it was about this high. It would still be okay for me to use. And so right here, for some of my props for the fairy gardens, for the backdrops, I hang those there. Okay, so then this side, I'm going to open this cabinet up. Just a second. I know I'm close. Trying to get a piece of paper out of the way. Okay, now a lot of it's a big mess, but I just want to show you the one thing that I did do since I took those first pictures is this. It's hard for me to, let me see if I can back up here. Okay, so this, this part here, let's see, no, this shelf in here. So my son made me an extra shelf, and I was able to take my fairy garden supplies and have 2 shelves so everything wasn't stacked on top. And so then up here is one long cupboard, and I put a lot of my odds and ends for crafting in jars so I can see them. But of course I am short and almost have to get on a stool to see above. I've got some wood things here. This messy shelf I still need to go through. It is my paints and paintbrushes, and I have a lot of probably chalk and acrylic paints in jars that have dried up. And then these, same thing here. These 2 shelves I need to go through. I just save things, and I don't know how long or how much you need to save. And down here I have some tools. And then this shelf, I want to get 2 more of the plywood type shelves. And then I can organize my shoe boxes, which have various craft supplies in them. So I think that is that. And on the outside of my cabinet, this is a pocket. Let's see if I can get, it's called a pocket tin or a wall pocket made from a tin can. The lighting isn't very good, I don't think. And then a wreath that I made from Dollar Tree roses at one time. And I think that is it. I know I could like to do a lot more, but again, like I said, whoops, I slipped on that paper. But again, like I said, I don't have a lot of space, and maybe if I had some more wall shelves, but I don't want it to look too much more cluttered. So that's how I have it for now. And I just want to thank you for coming by and seeing my craft room and what I do here. So now when you see my fairy gardens or my crafts, you know that I'm just sitting right here at this desk doing my crafts. This is my little YouTube planner. I get this in the mail from a place that I donate to. And I am working on, in here, quick peek, there's working on a master board. So anyway, thank you very much for stopping by. I appreciate you. I hope you have a wonderful day or evening, wherever in the world you are. And I want to thank the hosts again for this wonderful collaboration and give me a chance to show you my craft room. Take care. Bye-bye.